Yes, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the next discussion of CA-Inter-Audit-Regular Course in 100% English language delivery. So, we are in the second lecture of audit subject. And in the initial lecture, we understood that what is the role of a practicing chartered accountant in this audit assignment. Okay, we are done with the definition of auditing. So, what is the definition of auditing? Auditing is an independent examination of financial information of any entity, whether profit-oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form, when such an examination is conducted with a view to express an opinion thereon. Then we did some very important points that preparation and presentation of financial statement is the responsibility of management. Prevention and detection of fraud and error is also the primary responsibility of management. Over here, some fundamental points that we did. Auditor's main duty is to examine the financial statements and express an opinion. Auditor is a watchdog and not a bloodhound. Yes, he functions with a questioning mind, not a suspicious mind. He maintains an attitude of professional skepticism throughout the audit. That means he is going to remain alert, he is going to remain and function with a questioning mind. He will not assume that there is a fraud, but yes, if there is an evidence, then he needs to investigate further. Okay, auditor cannot be held liable for fraud unless it is proved that auditor was grossly negligent, careless in the performance of his duties. These 5 points we should never ever forget in audit subject. Then we understood finally what is the main objective of audit: to examine the financial statements and express an opinion. From the main objective, we understand the derived objective. All right, so we are just revising the last lecture for first few minutes. And what is the derived objective? Not the main objective, but the derived objective: to prevent and detect fraud and error in the financial statements. All right. And then we did this objectives of audit in a very technical language. All right. So as per SA 200 overall objectives of independent auditor, the main objective of audit is to obtain reasonable assurance. So auditor will conduct a high level of examination, which is not a guarantee, but a high level of examination to obtain reasonable assurance whether financial statements are free from material misstatements, whether due to error or fraud. And finally, he should be able to express an opinion whether financial statements are prepared materially as per applicable financial reporting framework. That means whatever are the financial statements, whether they have been prepared as per the guidelines that are applicable to the entity. We are just revising the last lecture for few minutes. And then he will report on the financial statements and communicate as required by SAs. So we were done with this concept of objective of audit. After the concept of objective of audit, we took up the discussion of inherent limitations of auditing, which was a very good discussion. That why auditor cannot give a guarantee, because auditing suffers from inherent limitations. Okay, I told you that from this concept you can expect MCQ, correct, incorrect, brief answers, correct, incorrect, everything. So what are the inherent limitations that auditing suffers from? Facto, financial statements have estimates, estimates have uncertainty, because of which auditor cannot give 100% guarantee. A for audit procedures, there are always some practical and legal limitation on auditor's ability to detect fraud and error. Why? Because there are limited legal powers that auditor has. All right. Then audit is not treated like an official investigation. Then, like any common man, even auditing suffers from the problems of time and cost constraints. And then there are few points where it is very difficult for the auditor to find out whether something has gone wrong. What are those points? Other subject matters. All right, which I gave you a code word also to remember. My GF is related to in-laws. So going concern, fraud involving senior management, related party transactions, and non-compliance with laws and regulations. These things are very, very difficult to detect. Then we understood one thing from our personal life example, that difficulty, time, and cost, these points are not considered as a valid reason when there is no alternative. So if my relative is going to be admitted to hospital, I need to spend that time, I need to give that cost, I need to take that difficulty, because there is no other alternative. Similarly, when auditor is performing procedure, if there is no other alternative, he has to go through the difficulty, time, and cost. However, if it is impracticable to perform procedure like lockdown situations, then auditor should highlight such fact in the audit report. We reach till this stage, all right, in our first lecture. So I just revised in 5-6 minutes so that you get the grip over the lecture. Now we are moving ahead with the topic of scope of audit. So I told you in the last lecture that we will be starting with the topic of scope of audit. So we are starting the second lecture, and that is the reason that now I will slow down a little bit. All right. So everyone with me? Yes. Now, what do you understand by the word scope of audit? Scope means coverage. Finally, what are the areas to be covered by an auditor? All right. That is nothing but what? Scope of audit. Okay. Now, who is going to tell auditor what are the areas to be covered? So scope of audit depends upon LIC. Yes. L for laws and regulations applicable to the entity. So who is going to tell the auditor what are the areas to be covered? So laws and regulations applicable to the entity. The best example of this is Companies Act 2013. You know, in audit subject, we have a separate chapter called as company audit, correct? So there you will understand what are the rights and duties of auditor and stuff. So that will give you your scope, areas to be covered. All right. Then I for ICAI pronouncements. That is standards on auditing. ICAI pronouncements, that is standards on auditing. And C for your contract with the client. All right. Your contract with the client. Client means the financial statements of the entity that you're auditing. I will call that client as auditee. We are the auditor. So if I'm auditing your financial statements, I am the auditor. You are the auditee. All right. So contract with the client, or I can use the word auditee. But you know what? In audit subject, the contract that we sign with the client has been given a specific word. All right. So in other words, it is nothing but we call it as an engagement. So our auditee has engaged us to conduct audit. All right. So we call it as terms of engagement agreed with the client. So come on, whenever anyone in your life, whoever is going to ask you, even in your interviews, wherever you are going, scope of audit will always depend upon three things. All right. At least in India, scope of audit will always depend upon three things: LIC, laws and regulations applicable to the entity; ICAI pronouncements, that is standards on auditing; and contract with the client or auditee, that is the terms of engagement as agreed with the client. All right. Now, there are two important questions, all right, when it comes to scope of audit. Very, very important questions that we need to do, because this scope of audit topic is also covering MCQs, brief answers, correct, incorrect, lots of stuff. All right. So this is just the concept that scope of audit will depend upon LIC. Now we need to go through some questions also. So there are two questions when it comes to scope of audit. Okay. First, points that merit consideration while deciding the scope. I will explain in simple English also what is the meaning of this question. And second is principal aspects to be covered in an audit of financial statements. You know what? Students spend a lot of time with the answer. So in exams, you would have faced this problem in theory papers, and you need to confirm if you have faced this problem, that you are not able to understand exactly what needs to be written under which question. Okay. So what is the exact content under which question? You are not able to make out that. Why? Because when you are preparing the subject, you have spent too much time with the answer, but you don't spend the required amount of time with the question. All right. So today, from today onwards, we change that technique. We spend some time with the question. Then we will go to the answer. Because in answer, if there are 6-7 points, if you don't remember 1 or 2 points, it is okay. But if you end up writing the answer which is completely irrelevant, then there is a problem. Correct. So when I say points that merit consideration, all right, that means as an auditor, when you are discussing the scope of audit with the client, what are the important points that you should keep in your mind? All right. So it means important points to be kept in mind while agreeing the scope. Spend some time with the question. All right. Principal aspects to be covered in an audit of financial statements means when we are conducting audit of financial statements, what are the main areas to be covered? What are the main areas to be covered? Okay. So 2 questions, both of them for 4 marks each. Both questions have weightage of 4 marks. And now let us get into these discussions. All right. Everyone ready? Have you written up till here? So I just hope that you have reached up till here and you've written this much. All right. Now let us go to the textbook over here, everyone. Okay. Don't worry. We'll be writing some notes also for this. All right. So if anyone is not sitting with the textbook, you'll be able to cover it up. Scope of audit. It means coverage. That is the aspects to be covered. Scope of audit depends upon the following factors, LIC. So this point we have written in the notes. Okay. Now following points merit consideration in regard to the scope of audit. Whenever you are discussing the scope with the client, today, for example, if you get audit of Reliance Industries Limited, tell me you would like to cover the purchases, sales, assets, liabilities, notes to accounts, the GST aspect, the taxation aspect. Can I say you would like to cover all the important areas of Reliance Industries Limited? Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. So when you are discussing the scope with the client, it is very important that the scope should be comprehensive. What do you understand by comprehensive? In detail. All right. Whenever something is in detail, we say it is comprehensive. All right. We should cover all the main areas. The audit should be organized to cover adequately all aspects of the enterprise relevant to the financial statements being audited. Now, this is a very good line. Huh? Tell me, everyone, if you are conducting audit of Air India, all right, audit of Air India, then are you worried about how they are booking their ticket sales and the tax that they are charging, the payment done to staff? Are you worried about these areas? Yes. Yes. But tell me, will you be worried about how they are scheduling their flights? See, you are conducting audit of financial statements. Do you really think you'll be worried about how they are scheduling their flights and stuff? No. So listen, this point has been asked multiple times for correct or incorrect 2 marks. What they do is they say that audit should be organized to cover adequately all aspects of the enterprise being audited. Incorrect. All aspects of the enterprise relevant to the financial statements being audited. And when I'm conducting audit of financial statements, you don't expect me to cover every single area of the entity. But yes, I will be worried about everything that is concerned with financial statements. All right. So if I'm conducting audit of Air India, am I worried about the ticket sales? Yes. Am I worried about flight scheduling? No. So these notes will be very quick. Huh? Don't go based upon these handwriting. Because when I'm writing something in the textbook, it will be very quick. So you also be very quick. Air India ticket says yes. Flight scheduling? No. That is the meaning of this line. Understood? Yes. Next, as an auditor, let us say today if you are conducting audit of my financial statements, correct? Tell me to verify the admissions, you will require fee receipts, correct? Okay. Now, when you took the admission from my app, did you realize that the fee receipt was automatically generated? Yes. And you saw that fee receipt, that basic fees, admission, I mean, then the GST which is charged on that. And if the fee receipt is electronically generated, will you trust that information? Will you trust that information? Yes. All right. So as an auditor, whatever information is relevant for the financial statements, auditor has to verify whether it is reliable or not, correct? He should be very much satisfied with the accounting records. Only then he will be able to conduct audit. So client should not stop you from doing these things. Auditor should be reasonably satisfied as to whether the information contained in the, whenever you see the word underlying means supporting. So with my admission, the underlying data is the fee receipt. All right. Underlying accounting records and other source data is reliable and sufficient as the basis for preparation of financial statements. All right. So the information should be reliable and sufficient. Whatever information is relevant for you for the financial statement, you will have to check that. Okay. Now listen to me very carefully. Tell me, today, if you are offered audit of my financial statements, I'm in my coaching class company. All right. So the name of my coaching class company, I'm a private limited company. All right. And the name of my coaching class company is Glow Commerce Learning Private Limited. All right. So if you're offered the audit of financial statements of Glow Commerce Learning Private Limited, tell me straight away, will you start verifying the admissions, payment done to staff, printing and stationery expenditures? Straight away, will you start verifying that? No, sir. First, you have to obtain some understanding of my business. So there are direct sales that happen through my app. Then I am registered on more than 30 plus websites which are selling for me. All right. I pay them commission. Then I have a tie-up with multiple institutes in India, Nepal, Dubai. All right. So through them also the lectures are being sold. So you will have to first understand my business. Once you understand the business, then you will come to know, okay, what are the important areas and the sources of income over here, correct? And the expenses also. Then you will ask me, sir, this admission which is generated through app, what is the system? Then I will tell you, then the student will take the admission, fee receipt gets generated. All right. If the student needs a discount, there are coupon codes which are there. Okay. If the coupon codes are not available and student needs a special discount, then they have to talk to my team. My team will ask me, I will authorize that. After that, that particular discount is given. All right. Then the moment student takes an admission, correct? Then the GST is calculated automatically in the fee receipt itself because I'm a GST payer. All right. And then the GST is charged and automatically the data comes out. You know what? In technical terms, I am explaining you my accounting system and my internal control system. As an auditor, we are extremely worried about, no matter whichever entity we are auditing, we are extremely worried about the accounting system and the related internal controls. Sir, what is the meaning of the word accounting system? The books of accounts, correct? How they are maintained, what are the records that are generated. So what is the meaning of the word internal controls? Steps taken by the management and to prevent and detect fraud and error. One more time. What is the meaning of the word internal controls? Steps taken by the management to prevent and detect fraud and error. I told you that, boss, everything is done electronically. Then I also told you that if the student needs a special discount, then it will require my authorization. Why am I doing this? So that there is no fraud or error in my financial statements. You know what? As an auditor, it is very, very important for you to obtain understanding of the accounting system and related internal controls. Once you obtain full understanding, then you will say, okay, sir, now I've understood your system. Now, please show me the data for 100 admissions. All right. So you will select 100 admissions. You will say that, please show me the data for this. Oh, then you will go to the accounting part. You will verify the records and stuff. But first thing, auditor needs to understand the accounting system and related internal controls. Congratulations. Today you have studied the first technical point in audit subject. All right. Slowly, steadily, you will be a master of this subject. Don't worry. That is the point that you are seeing over here. Now, this point will come at least 100 times in this subject. All right. So everyone has to understand this very nicely. The auditor assesses the reliability and sufficiency of the information contained in the accounting records and other source data by making a study and evaluation of accounting system and internal controls. Okay, now you will put an asterisk mark over here. Double asterisk mark over here. Okay. For students who don't have the textbook, all right. Maybe some students are watching the lectures without textbook. Then what you should do is somewhere on the top of the page, in your notes, you should write down this, but everyone has to write this somewhere. Okay. Write down, please. Auditor needs to obtain an understanding of the accounting system, that is the manner in which books of accounts are kept and maintained. Auditor needs to obtain an understanding of accounting system, that is the manner in which books of accounts are kept and maintained. Full stop, continue. Also, auditor needs to understand relevant internal controls, that is the steps taken by management to prevent and detect fraud and error in the financial statements. That is the steps taken by management to prevent and detect fraud and error in the financial statements. Example, authorization of expenses. Example, authorization of expenses. This is just one example of internal control. Any step which they have taken to prevent and detect fraud and error. Okay? Or example, daily reconciliation of inventory. In DMart, whatever cash gets collected today, it is deposited tomorrow in the bank. All right. So every day they reconcile everything. All right. Otherwise, there will be so much of theft and misappropriation of cash and inventory. Okay. So never forget this word, accounting system and related internal controls. Auditor always has to obtain an understanding of this. Only after that, the audit goes on. All right. Because that is always, this one is always the initial step in auditing. Okay. I hope you have written this note. Fine. We go back. We go back. So auditor needs to make a study and evaluation of accounting system and related internal controls. And he needs to carry out such other test, inquiries, and other verification procedures of accounting transactions balances as he considers appropriate. So auditor always has to conduct two tests. One is the blood test, or no. One is TOC test of controls, and another one is TOD, test of details. Sir, what is the difference between these two? Wait, you are verifying my admission fee receipt. What was the amount charged? What is the GST? All right, that is test of details. How the fee receipt is generated? Who authorizes the discount? All right, all of that is nothing but what? Test of controls. So when you're verifying the amounts, the valuation, the presentation, disclosure, all of that is test of details. But how that system has been implemented, who is authorizing the expenses, all right, all of that is nothing but what? Test of controls. So auditor always has to toke and toad, toke and toad, toke and toad. Test of controls and test of details. Continuously this goes on. All right. Yes. Very, very important point. Very technical point. So I want a confirmation from the students who are hearing me. Are you through with this point? Do you now feel comfortable? Sir, if we write words on our own little bit here and there, is it fine? Completely fine. All right. Little bit words here and there are always fine. Just the main words which I'm underlining, all right. At least if you can write that in exams, I'll be very happy. Okay. Then come on, man. Next point you will always understand. As an auditor, all right, we will always have to verify the disclosures. Okay? That whether financial statements have adequate disclosures notes to accounts. All right. And you are doing this in accounting standard schedule 3 everywhere, man. The auditor should also decide whether relevant information is properly disclosed in the financial statements, subject to statutory requirements where applicable. This he can do by comparing the financial statements with books of accounts, and wherever management has taken any judgment. Hey, have you seen in your accounts lecture, whenever you take any judgment, your professor will always tell you, write in the notes, write in the notes, write in the notes. All right. Because we need all of that in the notes to accounts. So we will compare the financial statements with books of accounts and whatever judgments management has made, whether they have disclosed it or not. Okay. So points that merit consideration. All right. Now listen. Now this is the moment which is purely exam oriented. So C for comprehensive. All right. R for reliability of information. And what you should do is, this is very repetitive, assessing reliability and sufficiency of information. So you will not be able to remember the difference between these 2 points. So we will cancel this and we will write evaluating and examining accounting system. So then you will remember the full point. Okay, evaluating and examining accounting system and the internal controls, conducting test of controls, test of details. So your head point should be such which helps you to remember the content. All right. So evaluating, I'm repeating because there is no space over here. So the handwriting has shrinked. So evaluating and examining accounting system. All right. So E, C, R. C for comprehensive, R for reliability of information, E for evaluating and examining accounting system, D for disclosures. Download CRED, baby. Download CRED. All right. So CRED. Following points merit consideration in regard to scope of audit. Now, these are the main words. All right. Then after that, if you write little bit on your own, it is completely fine. Not a problem at all. Okay. So everyone, please come to this. There are more points which I will teach. Okay, but let us finish off these points. Points that merit consideration. Important points to be kept in mind while agreeing the scope. Okay. So we understand it is CRED. Comprehensive covering all important areas relevant to the financial statements. Okay. R for reliability and sufficiency of information should be verified. So whatever is the information should be reliable and sufficient. E for evaluating and examining accounting system and related internal controls. D for disclosures should be adequate as per accounting standards and statutory requirements. Disclosure should be adequate as per accounting standards and statutory requirements. Write down, write down. So I am pausing for you to write down. All right. So that, even students who are watching recorded videos, so that they don't consume a lot of duration and rewind forward, rewind forward. Okay. Disclosure should be adequate as per AS and statutory requirements. Great. Have you written this now? Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a very common sense based question. All right. Just pure common sense. Okay. Tell me, if you are conducting audit of a construction industry, all right, are you done with little bit of your costing subject? Yes, construction industry, costing, accounting standards, construction. At least you know this, that the construction industry will recognize the revenue based upon the percentage completion. Yes, percentage completion of the project. Yes. Now, who will give you that work completion certificate? Work completed, work certified. Who will give that work completion certificate? The engineer, the architects. All right. Now tell me, as an auditor, I understand that if I'm conducting audit of a construction company, then their full revenue from operation is dependent upon the percentage completion of the contract. Correct? Then it means as an auditor, I should be able to verify how much construction has been completed. Otherwise, I will not come to know that, that what is the revenue, whether it is correct or not and stuff. So can I say as an auditor, I should also have the knowledge of engineering and architecture? Yes or no, sir? That is too much to expect from the auditor, yeah. That is why normally in these industries, what happens is that as an auditor, I take help of some outside expertise. All right. Or I take help of the engineers, architects, which are appointed by the management, or I may appoint my own engineer architect. I get the valuation done and then I will audit. Okay, I will be careful. I will maintain professional skepticism. I will maintain questioning mind. But you don't expect me, all right, to have an expertise of an engineer and architect. All right. That is too much to expect from me. Yaar. Okay. So I'm going to make you write a very simple line. Auditor is not expected to perform duties beyond his scope. Auditor is not expected to perform duties beyond his scope. As simple as that. All right. So everyone, just write down over here, note 1. Leave one line, write down. Sir, what about the other side of the chart? Don't worry, this will be covered in 3 to 4 lines. All right. So you can leave this chart and write down this note. Note 1. Auditor is not expected to perform duties beyond his scope. That is just too much to expect. Okay. Note 2. Come on. This every student is going to answer. Tell me, can my client put any clause in the contract which is against the laws and regulations and the ICAI pronouncements? Can my client put any clause in the contract which is against the laws and regulations and ICAI pronouncements? No. So I'm going to write a very simple English line over here. that terms of engagement agreed with the client. Yes. Cannot override. So it cannot be above. All right. Cannot override applicable laws and ICAI pronouncements. Terms of engagement agreed with the client cannot override applicable laws and ICAI pronouncements. Very simple. Okay. Now, these two statements have been their favorite, incorrect or incorrect, or such kind of MCQ, which of the following statement is appropriate, which of the following statement is not appropriate. In such kind of questions, these statements have been their favorite. Okay. So everyone over here now, you will see these things over here, E and F, normally asked for correct, incorrect, 2 marks, or as an MCQ. All right. Auditor is not expected to perform duties which fall outside the scope of his competence. For example, the professional skill required of an auditor does not include that of a technical expert for determining physical condition of certain assets. This is just an example. Limitations, constraints on scope of audit. Now you will not understand this line. This full line you will not understand as of now, because these lines you will understand in audit report lecture. Just write down over here, audit report lecture. I will be having a separate lecture when I teach standards on auditing. There you will understand this line. There is this problem is there in the module. They have used few lines which are taught in 10th chapter, 11th chapter. But they start using those lines in the first chapter itself. So 1 or 2 lines here and there you will not understand, because the relevant concept is yet to be taught. Okay. Done? Done. So everyone, come on. My student is going to score full marks over here. So if they ask you, in case of scope of audit, points that merit consideration, you start vomiting cred and you write down the below notes also. Comprehensive reliability and sufficiency of information should be verified. I need to evaluate and examine the accounting system, internal controls, conduct test of controls, test of details, and whether disclosures, D for disclosures, are adequate or not as per the statute requirements. I need to verify it. Now there are 2 categories of students. Listen to me very carefully. One category of students who will just by heart this cred and they will write it in the paper, covering these points and writing completely in their own language. So out of 4, they will score 2 or 2.5. Correct? Because why they will score 2, 2.5? Because comprehensive, he will mark this, he will mark, he will give marks, he will give marks. But the points are a little bit incomplete. All right. Second category of student will read from the notes and will also see it from the textbook and will develop a little bit nicer language, a little bit more clear language to write in the exams. They can score 4 on 4. But one thing I have ensured that in this particular question, none of my student is going to score 0. As I told you, if you want to maintain a score of 50 plus, 60 plus, then you need to be very strong in correct, incorrect MCQs. And with brief answers, you need to at least score 50, 55%. All right. Then you are very near to an exemption. But the students who enroll with me, there are some students who are targeting 50 plus, 60 plus, but there are some students who are targeting all India top in audit subject, all India first in audit subject. For them, I would request that if they can go to the textbook and read a few lines more and write it, then it will be better. So you can manage it with the notes. All right. But if you want to score all India first in audit subject, or if you want to come in top 10, then you need to go to the textbook and do a little bit more work. All right. Okay. Now over here, principal aspects to be covered in an audit of financial statements. Okay. We are moving to this point. This is so simple. Everyone is going to score full marks over here. Principal aspects to be covered in an audit of financial statement. Tell me, as an auditor, do I need to verify assets? Yes. Liabilities? Yes. P&L account? Yes. Compliance with laws and regulations, of course, which are relevant for the financial statements, of course, yes. Do I need to give audit report? Yes. 4 or 5 points you're already done with your common sense. But we want to be perfect. So we will go to the textbook and see what are the exact points to be written over here. Okay. Everyone, please come to this. One of the most repeatedly asked question, again, brief question, 4 marks. Earlier, it was asked for 5 marks, but after MCQs were introduced, this question weightage was reduced to 4 marks. So principal aspects to be covered in an audit of financial statements are the following. Now everyone understands the meaning of these 2 points. These 2 points will keep coming in audit subject: accounting and internal control system, systems, procedures. All right. So instead of these 2 points, if you straight away want to write this particular note, then also it is fine. But they want to see the points on accounting and internal control system. If there is a question related to scope of audit, no matter whatever the question is, they want to see this point. All right. So examination of the system of accounting and internal control will help auditor in ascertaining whether it is proper for the business and properly recording all transactions. We will see the systems, procedures, we will review it to find out whether there is any material weakness. For example, today, let us say my whole admission-based system is based upon cash, hard cash. People have to pay me hard cash and then only they can take admissions. So can I say there can be lots of misappropriation of cash? Yes. So, as an auditor, we try to evaluate the accounting system, internal control, their procedures to understand whether there is any material weakness. Okay. But now these 2 points are so clear. And come on, C point onwards, everyone is going to vomit completely in the paper. Not a problem. All right. Look at this. As an auditor, what am I going to do? Arithmetical accuracy, totaling, calculation and stuff. Yeah. Then principles of accounting, revenue, expenditure, capital expenditure. All right. So let us say if there's a repairs and maintenance expenditure. Normally it is a revenue expenditure, but if it increases the capacity of the asset, then it can be capitalized. Correct. So principles of accounting, we will see that income, expenditure, capital, revenue. Then comparing it with the books of accounts. Financial statements, we will compare with the books of accounts. So primary books, ledger and stuff. Come on, man. You are just going to rock this in the exam. Then we will verify asset. What is the existence of asset, value of asset, then liabilities. All right. Then whether laws and regulations are being complied, GST, taxation, then P&L, correct? Then this is good point. Validity of the transactions, whether transactions are genuine and they should not be fake. All right. So validity of the transactions. And at the end, we will prepare audit report. In that report, we will comment upon true and fair view of the balance sheet and P&L. Correct? Okay. I explained the meaning of true and fair view in the last lecture. So correctness of the amounts and the presentation also. So this is so simple. Okay. So everyone, please write down A, S, A, P, ASAP, CALL, call, ASAP, call, PVR. This was my first feeling when lockdown opened, when the lockdown restrictions were lifted. ASAP, call, PVR, and whatever movie is going on, let us see that movie. Unfortunately, turned out to be Suryavanshi. Okay. All right. So ASAP, call, PVR. This though, I think you can buy at all the points. It is so simple. Okay. So everyone over here, what are the main areas to be covered? ASAP, call, PVR. There are 2 ways. Either you can write down summary over here itself, or you can straight away refer to the textbook. But these points are not so technical to write a summary over here. All right. So you can straight away refer textbook. Point number, it is point number 3.2 and page number 5. Accounting internal control system. Then this is systems and procedures, arithmetical accuracy, principles of accounting, comparing it with the books of accounts, asset, liability, law. All right. Then you have validity of the transaction. This P for P&L, validity of the transaction, R for reporting. Everyone comfortable? Okay. So tell me, in this scope of audit, there's so many questions now. In this scope of audit, if they ask you scope of audit depends upon which factors, then LIC, 3 marks. All right. Then if they ask you what are the points that merit consideration, all right, then in that case, cred and the below two notes. Okay. Then if they ask you principal aspects to be covered in an audit of financial statements, then ASAP call PVR. So I want my student to understand the concept for sure. I am discussing all the concepts in detail. But at the end, when the concept gets over, I want my student to have complete clarity that, okay, if this question is there, I'm going to write this answer. If this question is there, I'm going to write this answer. So I don't want that confusion. So we understand your concepts, but we are not able to understand what to write in the exam. For that, you have to focus on the question. You have to spend some time with the question. So if the last line of the question says points that merit consideration, and if you write this cred and the below two notes, they will have to give you the marks. Yes, everyone? Yes. Okay. That is how you prepare. Now, in principal aspects to be covered in audit of financial statement, if you forget PVR, it is fine. You write ASAP call, okay. 1 mark here and there gets deducted, it's okay. But at least you're writing the relevant answer. So don't just by heart the answer. 5 times first by heart the question. Then you go behind the answer. All right. So we are done with this full concept of scope of audit. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Now, little bit relaxed content. Okay. Fourth point, it will not take more than 60 seconds for me to finish this off. Types of audit of financial statement. There are only 2 types of audit of financial statement. One is statutory, another one is voluntary. Statutory, which is required by law, voluntary, which is not required by law, but people still do it. All right. So to expand this, you can give example of various act. Companies Act, Banking Act, Insurance Act, Cooperative Society Act, Electricity Act. All right. All the laws and regulations that you're aware of, you can write down over here, which are dealing with different companies. Okay. Or cooperative society. Voluntary audit is proprietorship, HUF, partnership firm. All right. So those are not mandatorily required, but they get it voluntarily done. This is types of audit of financial statement. Huh? Otherwise, if I just ask you types of audit, then in market, financial statements are audited. Internal controls, there is a separate audit for that. All right. Then there is a compliance audit, which is normally done by company secretaries. So types of audit is a very big answer, but it is not there in your module. Okay. But when I say types of audit of financial statement, only 2 types of audit, either required by law or not required by law. Done. No need to write it even in the notes. All right. Because whatever you write in the note, that will increase the pressure for you to buy it. There's no need to even buy at this. Okay. Now we move ahead. We were done with this 5th point, inherent limitations of auditing. There are few points which we can straight away finish from the textbook. All right. Look at this 6th point. Come on, man. Qualities of auditor. If such kind of questions are asked, you should go to your home after the paper is over. You should give a tight hug to your parents and tell them, thank you for the timing, man. What a lucky birth I have got. Qualities of auditor. Just put read once. I don't think this will be asked, but still I will discuss. Personal qualities. I just want to know whether you're aware about these meaning or not. Tact, caution, firmness. What is the meaning of the word tact? Art of dealing with human behavior. We say this, no? Wow, he did this work smartly, huh? Tactfully. Art of dealing with human behavior. That is the meaning of the word tact. Caution, be careful. All right. Firmness, you should not change your decisions just based upon client's request. All right. Good temper. Integrity, honesty. But integrity is a part of ethical qualities also. Discretionary power. Right? So you should be able to take your own decisions with your own will. Judgment, patience, clear-headedness, reliability. My God, it sounds like a Shadi.com profile. Ethical qualities. Never forget in audit subject, never forget IAO. Independence, integrity, and objectivity. And today, I want everyone to understand the meaning of these lines, these words. Independence means uninfluenced. So you are not going to be influenced on it. Integrity means honesty. Because these words will be used 100 times in audit subject. All right. Objectivity means being unbiased, impartial. You should not differentiate and you should not get partial. All right. So unbiased or impartial. Integrity, honesty, independence, uninfluenced. You should always know the meaning of these three words. Then knowledge of, come on, man, start vomiting different subjects. All right, look at this. General principles of law, mercantile law, company law, special statute governing the audit, taxation. Look at this, FM, costing, everything. Look at this, financial management, accounting, business ka knowledge. So just start vomiting your different subjects. All right. So the personal qualities, ethical qualities, and then knowledge of these subjects. All right. That is qualities of auditor. I'm not expecting in exams. I'm not going to mark it as very important. Even if it is asked, students can just vomit and write and they will score marks. Okay. So qualities of auditor. Then look at this point, seventh point. No, some points, they sound like Bahubali. But when you read them, it is just Prabhas. All right. Look at this. So relationship of auditing with other discipline. Discipline. Discipline is nothing but various areas, fields, subjects. Okay. Now you have to just link audit subject with different subjects and score marks. All right. So auditing and accounting. Can you link these two? Yes, sir. Accounting deals with accounts and preparation of financial statements, whereas in audit, we need to examine the financial statements. So auditor needs to have good knowledge of accounts. Auditing and accounting are closely related with each other. I am giving you full license to write on your own. Here, there is no importance of the content that you're writing inside. Just that little bit, it should be logical that you're connecting both the subjects. All right. So auditing and accounting, closely related. All right. You should know the overall accounting process. Okay? Auditor needs sound knowledge of accounting principles. So I'm not, see, unnecessarily, I will not waste time in the lecture. All right. Wherever there is important stuff, I'm going to go very slow. But when there is such kind of stuff, we need to pace up. Then we can cover subject nicely. Okay. Without getting bored. Auditing and law. Yes, sir. Law subject will give us knowledge of regulatory, all the regulation, laws and regulations. Auditing is also connected with examination of such compliance with laws and regulation. Example, GST, taxation. Example, company law. Yes. So you can just say that both of them are closely related. All right. Then auditing and economics. Here there are one or two good lines. So economics is nothing but business, and accounting is nothing but the accounts of whatever business has happened. All right. So obviously accounting is nothing but whatever economic activity has happened, that is getting recorded. Okay. So that is why first auditor should know the business and the economics. Then he can know the accounts also. All right. So look at this. Accounting is concerned with accumulation, presentation of data relating to economic activity. Now comes a very good line. I told you wherever there is a concept, I will go slow. From auditing viewpoint, this line is correct, incorrect, 2 marks. From auditing viewpoint, auditors are more concerned with microeconomics rather than macroeconomics. Yes. Tell me everyone, what is microeconomics? Can I say demand, supply? Yes. Okay. What is macroeconomics? Are that national level GDP growth and all of that? Tell me, as an auditor, if you want to conduct audit of financial statement, you should know the purchase, sales, demand, supply, pricing. Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. Only then you will be able to audit that entity. Yes. So, okay, you should be aware about the national policies, economic policies, growth, GDP, all of that is fine. But first, you should be aware about the microeconomics, the demand, supply, pricing and stuff. All right. And that is why if you want to choose between the two, first auditor should have knowledge of microeconomics and then he should be concerned with macro. So from auditing viewpoint, auditors are more concerned with micro rather than macro. All right. So nice line. Okay. Auditor is expected to be familiar with the overall economic environment. Auditing mathematics and statistics, just link two subjects, man. Mathematics deals with calculation, valuation. Statistics, auditor uses sampling technique, statistical techniques to find out to collect that the data for which he wants evidences. All right. So auditing and mathematics and statistics are closely related. Just talk about calculation, valuation, sampling, and connect it with auditing subject. Very simple. All right. Okay. Auditing and data processing. Are your favorite subject? IT, EIS. All right. IT subject. So auditing and data processing. Nowadays, businesses run on computers, lots of accounting activities done through computers. Auditor should have sound knowledge of the computers and the programs so that he is able to audit properly. You can just link, you can just write on your own. That's okay. All right. Not a problem at all. Auditing and production costing, joint product, byproduct, process costing. All right. All of this will help the auditor in understanding the accounting process also. Huh? Look at this. You have to just write names of different chapters. Process, joint product, byproduct. Okay. And tell them that this knowledge is important. Only then auditor will be able to understand, the cost of production, the valuation of inventory. Right? Okay. Auditing and financial management, the fund management, debt, equity. All right. How much is the debt? How much is the equity? What is their capital budgeting? What is their working capital requirement? Bore ho raha hai na? Because this concept is so easy. Students are bored when the concept is easy. All right. So when the concept is interesting, students never get bored. But still, at least I have to read once, This is regular course, not just a revision course. So I have to at least read once. So auditing and financial management, various financial techniques, working capital, funds flow, ratio analysis, capital budgeting. All right. See, now this one is difficult. I mean, at least you should read it properly. Auditing and behavioral science. Art of dealing with human behavior. Tact, behavioral science. Tell me, when you have a very good legal power, when you are legally powered, empowered, all right, do you really need behavioral science? No. For example, if you violate a signal, all right, traffic signal, that traffic police is not going to tell you, beta, this is wrong. You should not do it. Not good for you. Safety issues. Just imagine traffic police doing this. They will never do this because they're legally empowered to penalize you, to charge you with the fine. So they'll be like, ah. So you don't need behavioral science where you are very much legally empowered. But as I told you in the last lecture, auditor has limited legal powers, correct? And that is why auditor needs to use behavioral science properly to get the data from the client. Because imagine, that I'm going to examine your data. That I'm going to write an audit report. So we need to use behavioral science. All right. So you need to connect a little bit with the concept. The discipline of behavioral science is closely linked with the subject of auditing. While it may be said that an auditor, particularly the financial auditor, deals basically with figures, he shall be required to interact with a lot of people in the organization. The knowledge of human behavior is very essential, very much required for an auditor to effectively discharge his duties. All right. Especially when auditor has limited legal power. Especially this becomes important when auditor has limited legal power. You can add this line to extend the content. Okay. So listen, if I am the paper setter, what I will do over here? All right. There are two questions which we can clearly see from the whole concept. All right. One is, for the 7th point, they will ask you a brief question. Well, they will say, explain any two. Or they will give it in the exam itself. If I am the paper setter, I would like to give a little bit difficult one. One is auditing and economics, and second one is auditing and behavioral science. Because I know that if I link it with accounts, law, taxation, the students will write even six paragraphs on that. So I will ask you auditing and economics and auditing and behavioral science if I am the paper setter. So brief question, explain any two into 2 marks. So total 4 marks. Okay. And then over here, auditing and economics, this particular line is for correct 2 marks. Correct, incorrect, 2 marks. Okay. So these are the only questions which I'm expecting from this of relationship of auditing with other disciplines. So we will just mark it in the textbook. What are the, in the notes, sorry, we will just mark it in the notes, which points we finished from textbook. So at least you read it once. Okay. So everyone, please write down over here. See, fourth point was scope of audit. Okay. So write down fifth point. Read once from textbook. Which points? Types of audit of financial statements. Qualities of auditor. Qualities of auditor. And relationship of auditing with other discipline. Relationship of auditing with other discipline. Okay. These points you will read it from textbook. Next. Now come on. This point you can write on your own also, but still I want to discuss because this is a module question and multiple times it has been asked in the exam also. Write down. Advantages of audit of financial statement. What is the biggest advantage of audit of financial statement? Sir, it will increase the trust of the readers. Sir, people will start trusting the financial statements and the audit report. Yes, because we provide assurance. So the biggest advantage when it comes to audit of financial statement is it increases the credibility, or you can use the word reliability of the financial statements, because people start trusting the financial statements. All right. Then can I say that, boss, because you know that someone is going to audit the financial statements. Today, if you are a practicing chartered accountant and if you are going to conduct audit of financial statements of my entity, my employees, hey, you sitting over there, yes, you employee. So my employees will be worried that, yes, someone is going to check these accounts. All right. So I need to be a little bit more careful. All right. So M for it will act as a moral check. It will act as a moral check on the employees of the entity. See, even you can write advantages on your own, but this is a multiple time asked module question. So I don't want to take risk. All right. So we are trying to write such words which will tally with their suggested answer. All right. Okay. Then as an auditor, when you're conducting audit of financial statements, you'll be like, sir, Pragnesh, sir, so this printing and stationery, if you see that you have a full manual process over here and your books keep changing every 12 months, 18 months. So I think you should order only these much quantities and you should make this process automated. Then you will stop the wastage of the book. And because if the whole process is manual, there can be some theft, there can be some misappropriation. So you know what, as an auditor, although this is not your main duty is to express an opinion, but still you will help me to detect my wastages, losses, and my weaknesses. Correct. And you will help me to improve over there. So see, what we are doing is we are just writing code word over here. You focus on the right hand side. Right. So it helps in detection of wastages, losses, due to weaknesses in the accounting system
Good.
and related internal controls. It will help in detection of wastages and losses due to weaknesses in the accounting system and related internal controls. Okay. Now, because someone is conducting audit of financial statements, all the stakeholders will feel so safe that chalo, there is someone conducting audit of financial statement, there is someone who's going to examine the financial statements, there is someone who is going to examine the accounts. All right. So everyone feels so safe. All right. So it will safeguard the interest of various stakeholders. It will safeguard the interest of various stakeholders. Every single stakeholder, all right, will feel safe that okay, someone is there to conduct audit of financial statements. All right. Now listen, let us talk about these stakeholders. Sir, if I talk about government, even government is a stakeholder. Yes, in every entity's financial statement, government is a stakeholder. So government will be little relaxed that okay, there is someone looking after the P&L expenses and stuff. So the calculation of tax liabilities and stuff will be done properly. So government will be relieved about calculation of tax liabilities. Just think about various stakeholders and tell me the keywords. All right. Can I say the shareholders? They will be satisfied that okay, whatever the profit and loss has been reported by Reliance, that is correct. All right. So they will be satisfied about the correctness of profit loss being reported. Yes. Then let us talk about the bank, the lenders, the financial institutions. They will be satisfied about the credibility, credit worthiness of the entity, that yes, this entity has so many assets and they have been audited. So okay, I can be satisfied about the credit worthiness. All right. Credit worthiness of the entity. Right. If you talk from the angle of management, employees, they will understand the performance. Employees will also understand, okay, this entity is performing nicely, we can continue our job over here. Management will be like, okay, we can improve the performance over here. Okay, these are the updated records. All right. So when we talk from the angle of management or employees, correct, they will be able to evaluate the performance and take decisions. Hello, this is endless. This will never get over. You can add insurance company in this. Insurance company can assess the loss that has been done. All right, what is the correct value of the loss? Because if they have audited figures, they will be able to assess it. You can just go on and on. Partners will be able to settle their disputes. Acha, it will help the companies in negotiating price whenever there is a merger acquisition. So you can keep on writing, you can write about insurance company, you can write about partnership firm, you can write about investors, etc. Well, there is no end to this. You can keep on writing and adding more points. So yes, development banks, correct. You can just go on and keep on adding the points, correct. But why I made you write this? So that we tally with their suggested answer. Yes, sir. If you have a look at their suggested answer, I mean their content, look at this point. 8th point. Advantages of audit of financial statement. Look at this. The chief utility of audit lies in reliable financial statements, on the basis of which state of affairs may be easy to understand. Apart from this obvious utility, there are other advantages of audit as follows. Correct? Look at this. Safeguards the financial interest. Now look at this. It will act as a moral check. Okay. Then it will help in detection of wastages and losses. All right. Now all other points, you will see they're writing from the angle of different stakeholders. Common sense now. Look at this. Liability for taxes, government, partner. Look at this. Damage suffered by property, trade disputes. And then 1 or 2 points about improving the internal control system. So what I'm trying to say over here is that if you just follow my answer, you will end up tallying at least 5 points minimum with the suggested answer. And that will ensure that you get full marks. Correct. So advantages of audit of financial statements. What is the code? I am detective safe. Tell me, I am detective safe. All right. And then last point, safeguarding interest of various stakeholders. From stakeholders, you can keep on increasing the points, right? About government, shareholders, bankers, lenders, management, employees, insurance company, partners, idli vada, medu vada, just keep on writing. Hello, Samar. Have you understood this? Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. And that is how you will extend the answer. Very simple. Very, very simple. Advantages of audit of financial statement. Otherwise, what happens is students keep on writing on their own. They don't tally with the suggested answer. Then, they don't get the marks and then they keep on crying. Correct? So we need to ensure that the students don't cry on the day of results. Okay. So that is what you're going to write for advantages of audit of financial statements. Okay. So what you can do is over here for 8th point, you can write read with notes. Or you can just straight away write notes. That is also fine. Okay. Now, please come to the next point, 9th point. That is the concept of independence. Yes, sir. All right. It's a very good concept. Everyone, please write the proper point number. 6th point is advantages of audit of financial statements. All right. Now we are going to write upon. It is a very interesting concept. A very interesting concept. Concept of independence. And it is full. Yeah, it is full MCBC, everything. I mean, MCQ, correct, incorrect, brief answers, everything is there. Yes. So when you look at this concept, it feels like, oh my God, it's going to be a theory concept and stuff. But let me tell you, this is the most practical discussion that you're going to do. So when I talk about concept of independence, everyone understand that independence is nothing but I have to maintain my uninfluenced state of mind. I should not get influenced by my client. Very simple. All right. So it is nothing but maintaining an uninfluenced state of mind. Come on, start writing also with me. Maintaining an uninfluenced state of mind. But you know what? It is very difficult to define independence. See, it can't be defined in some section or some act. It is a state of mind. It is my mental state. You just can't define it. Although we can explain it, we can give examples for it, but there can never be a single standard definition for independence. All right. So it cannot be precisely, means accurately. It cannot be precisely defined. Why? Because it is a state of mind, yaar. All right. However, we can explain it with examples. All right. We can understand the following explanation. Sir, where this explanation is given about the concept of independence, which you are going to explain now? Inter-CM module. No. But where they have taken in the inter-CM module, also from where they have taken it. You know what? The ICAI has a separate document called as Code of Ethics. which every chartered accountant must follow. I know if chartered accountants don't follow it, they end up losing their degree also. Correct? Inside that code of ethics, they have explained this whole concept of independence. So we can understand the following explanation as given in the code of ethics issued by the ICAI. Code of ethics issued by the ICAI. All right. Now listen to me very carefully. Let me give you some technical information today. So let me compare it. We have WTO, World Trade Organization, all right, which is the international supreme body for world trade, free trade. All right. Then we have World Health Organization. The lesser we discuss about WHO, better it is. All right. But still there is a body, so we need to discuss. There's World Health Organization. So you will see that there are always global bodies for a specific thing, correct? Similarly, for accounting, auditing, there is a global body of chartered accountants. So the institutes of various countries, the institutes of chartered accountancy of various countries are a part of this body. And the name of that body is IFAC, International Federation of Accountants. All right. So from there, institute has taken this code of ethics, because ICAI is a member of IFAC, International Federation of Accountants, and whatever has been discussed at IFAC needs to be implemented by all the member countries. All right. So we will just write it in the bracket. All right. It is in accordance with Code of Ethics given by IFAC. International Federation of Accountants. It is in accordance with Code of Ethics given by IFAC, International Federation of Accountants. ICAI is a member of IFAC. Okay. Now, we need to discuss the meaning of independence. All right. So they say that, sir, simple meaning, independence means you should not get influenced. All right. Technical meaning, all right, that your judgment of a person, whatever is your judgment, right, should not be influenced by the wish or directions of the authority who is appointing you, or by your own self-interest. Very simple. Let me explain. Whatever is your judgment, whatever is your opinion, it should not get influenced by the client just because the client has appointed you. So you're not going to be like, thank you, Reliance Industries Limited. You appointed me as an auditor. You know, the clothes that my child is wearing today, it is because of your fees. Then what, teachers should also, touch the feet of the students, all right, and tell them, thank you so much for giving fees. Otherwise, who will give that diamond ring to my wife? You can enjoy, you can skip the lectures, you can do whatever you want to do. It is because of your fees. So tell me, everyone. Yeah, you can deduct 50 rupees for overacting, all right? But tell me, everyone, just because my client has appointed me, should I get influenced by his wish or direction? No. I'm supposed to be an examiner and I need to act like an examiner. So this is a very nice explanation which they have given. All right. So they say that, first point, independence implies that judgment of a person should not be subordinate to So what is the meaning of this? Should not be subordinate to means it should not get influenced by. So it should not be subordinate to two things. Just a small chart, only one line. Should not be subordinate to, first, Don't get influenced by the wish and directions of your client. Yes, should not be subordinate to wish or directions of the appointing authority. Sometimes what happens is that client is not influencing me at all. Tata Motors, I am auditing Tata Motors, and the management of Tata Motors is giving me full freedom to conduct audit. All right. But sometimes I may end up influencing myself. I'll be like, Tata Motors, I don't want to disappoint Tata Motors. It is a very big client. It is paying me 3 crore rupees. I don't want to lose the client. I don't want to lose the client. Sometimes I may end up influencing myself. All right. So they are saying that it should not be subordinate to wish or directions of the appointing authority. And it should not be subordinate to his own self-interest. So don't end up influencing yourself. There are two things which can influence you. One is the client, one is your own greed. All right. So independence implies that judgment of a person should not be subordinate to wish or directions of the appointing authority or his own self-interest. All right. Okay. Second, come on, too much of theory. Let us discuss something practical now. Okay. You know what? If you go to Companies Act 2013, under section 141, and this is very practical, stay connected everyone. Under section 141, subsection 3, clause F of Companies Act, it has been written that if my relative is a director or key managerial personnel, CEO, CFO, okay. So if my relative is a director or KMP of the company, then I cannot be appointed as an auditor of such company. Understood? So in Companies Act, it is written that if my relative is a director or KMP in the company, I cannot be appointed as an auditor of such company. So if you actually, see the definition of relative, you will see that my wife is my relative as per Companies Act, but my wife's sister is not my relative as per Companies Act. Yes. So tell me everyone, if my wife's sister is a director in the company, can I be appointed as an auditor of such a company? Yes or no, sir? If my wife's sister is a director in the company, can I be appointed as an auditor of such company? Technically, if you go by law, if you go strictly by law, it seems yes, it is possible. And you know what? There are so many such loopholes in the law. Because whenever you read a law, there is always one F in the law. Okay? Flaw. If you add F to law, it becomes flaw. So technically, if my wife's sister is a director, then I can become the auditor. My God. But you know what? That is why International Federation of Accountants came up with a very good explanation. They said that, now this line is the most important line in audit subject. They said that it is not only important to be independent, but it is also important to appear as independent. It is not only important to be independent, but it is also important to appear as independent. Now, from this line, let me teach you two important points. One is independence of mind, and second is, and this is a very good line. So if you don't discuss this practically, it sounds like a boring theory. But when we connect with practical life, this is the most wonderful lines. These are the most wonderful lines. Independence of mind and independence of appearance. So let us say that if my wife's sister is a director in the company, and if I accept audit of such company, then ICAI will come to me, Pragnesh, naughty person, naughty guy, Your wife's sister is a director here, no? Your wife's sister is a director over here. Why you accepted audits of such company? Sir, first of all, in Companies Act, there is no such restriction. Huh? And secondly, I feel that I am independent. All right. See, in independence concept, you told that judgment of a person should not be subordinate to wish or direction of another person who has appointed him or to his own self-interest. I feel I am independent. You see, wife, sister, see, I'm not looking at her. See, I feel I'm independent. Then ICAI is going to catch my collar and ICAI is going to tell me, hello, Pragnesh, although you feel that you are independent, but if you ask shareholders of the company, once they come to know that auditor's wife, sister is a director over here, do you think that the shareholders will trust this company's audit report? Do you think that the shareholders will trust this audit report? No, sir. So, Pragnesh, it is not only important to be independent, but it is also important to appear as independent. Pragnesh, for 5 minutes, if you would have thought from the angle of shareholders, you would have realized that today, if you are the investor or shareholder in this company, you will not trust such audit report where auditor's wife's sister is a director in the company. Yes, sir. That is why these lines were introduced. Because no section, no regulation, no law on Mother Earth can cover all the combinations. And that is why ethically a chartered accountant has to think before accepting the audit. Although a chartered accountant may think that he is able to maintain independence, but he should think from the angle of third party, whether he genuinely, from the angle of third party, whether he appears to be independent or not. Yes, sir. And that is why it is important not only to be independent, but also to appear as independent. So if such case study is asked in exams, then we write that, okay, technically as per law, this is not prohibited. However, it violates the concept of independence. And that is why Pragnesh should not accept such audit. Understood this? Yes, sir. Okay. So let us write something for this. Everyone over here. It is not only important to be independent, but it is also important to appear as independent. Independence of mind. That means first auditor should evaluate on his own. All right. Auditor's own evaluation. Whether he believes that he will be able to audit with IPO. What is IPO? Integrity, honesty, yesterday we studied this word professional skepticism, questioning mind, initial public offering. Okay. O for objectivity. So remaining unbiased, impartial. As an auditor, you need to think. First of all, what do you think? Whether you will be able to maintain IPO over here? All right. Whether you will be able to audit with IPO? Okay. Integrity, questioning mind, objectivity. Now, if you think you will be able to maintain IPO, now think from the angle of third party. All right. So independence of appearance. Auditor should evaluate from the viewpoint of third party whether a reasonable and informed third party. Whenever we want to talk about a rational person, no, we use this word reasonable and informed. This is just professional language. All right. Whether a reasonable and informed third party will be able to believe that auditor has maintained IPO. Again, I'm not writing the full form. Integrity, professional skepticism, objectivity. So you think from the angle of third party that whether a shareholder will be able to trust you if you accept this particular audit. All right. Just to write it in more different English. All right. What does this full concept mean? Both of these lines, when I combine it, it means independence should not only exist in fact, that means, yes, factually you should be independent, all right? Should not only exist in fact, that means factually you should be independent, but it should, and even third party should believe that yes, you are independent, but it should also appear to exist to all reasonable and informed third parties. Take your time to write, don't worry, don't rush. But I want module language on the tip of your tongue. Independence should not only exist in fact, but it should also appear to exist to all reasonable and informed third parties. So where my wife's sister is a director in the company, although I feel that I am independent, but no one else is going to trust that. And that is why, although I may be fulfilling independence of mind, but I'm not fulfilling independence of appearance. And that is why I should not accept such audit. Yes? Please complete up till here. There is more to discuss in the concept of independence. Now, look at this. We are done with this much, but let us do some more practical discussion. Yeah. And that is the concept of threats to independence. See, if we just talk about practical life, then yes, there are enough threats to the independence of auditor. If we just talk about practical life, correct? There are so many situations where the independence of auditor is challenged like anything. And we are going to discuss it. And it's a very good discussion. Okay. So just leave one line and write on one note. Threats to independence. What do you understand by the word threats to independence? We are going to discuss situations where the independence of auditor can be compromised. It can be harmed. It can be compromised. It is under danger, the independence of auditor. All right. And it is very simple to understand these threats if you focus for some time. All right. Tell me, if you are my client and if I invest in your business, if I take some equity stake in your business, or if I invest in your business, or we develop a business relationship, some kind of business relationship between us, then do you really think that I should conduct audit of your financial statements? I should conduct audit of your financial statements? No, sir. Because I have my personal financial interest over here. So it is very simple to understand this. That, boss, the very first threat that every student should be aware of is self-interest threat. Okay. Self-interest threat means some kind of financial interest you have developed, or there is some kind of business relationship you have developed. Okay. Now then tell me, everyone, can I write your paper and then check your paper? So what if I prepare your accounts, I help you in preparing your data, and then I am telling you, okay, now I will check your accounts. So if I prepare your data, if I help you in maintaining the data, and then if I check the same data, all right, how can I be the preparer as well as the examiner? All right. It is you who are supposed to prepare and I'm supposed to examine. So if I be your preparer as well as the examiner, then in that case, I will end up examining myself and then tell me if there are any errors in the data. Will I disclose those errors? No, sir. Right? So that becomes self-review threat. So final answer is that you should not get yourself into these situations. But first we are discussing about problems. Then we will discuss about the solutions. All right. So self-review threat. When the auditor engages in the preparation of data and in the business activity of the client, then in that case, how will he examine the same when he has himself done it? All right. So engaging in the preparation of financial statements or some kind of consultancy services to the client. So if I help you in preparing your accounts, if I help you in growing your business and all of that, and then if I am only auditing your accounts, come on, then that is a proper self-review threat. I may end up examining myself. That is a self-goal in football language. All right. Okay. Then imagine this. I am conducting audit of your financial statements. You got one notice from taxation department. Okay. And then I am legally helping you in defending your case. So practicing chartered accountants normally also give legal advices on how to defend your case in front of taxation officers. But if I am the auditor and I am also defending you legally, then how is this going to maintain my independence? It's like on one hand, I'm questioning you. I'm your auditor. You need to answer my questions. On the other hand, don't worry. I will also act as your lawyer and I will defend you. I will question you. I will defend you. I will question you. I will defend you. Come on, these are mutually exclusive things. So this is nothing but advocacy threat. When you are defending or promoting client's interest or client's objectives, defending the client or promoting the client, all right, will lead to advocacy threat. Yes, sir. All right. Then let us say that I am conducting audit of your financial statements and I'm a very honest person. I'm a very honest person. All right. And what you told me, you told me that, Pragnesh, if you write any negative remark, we will block your remuneration. In fact, we will remove you as an auditor. No negative remark in the audit report, or else we will replace you. My God, you are threatening me. You are, you are deterring me. You are stopping me from acting objectively. You are pressurizing me. You are giving me a threat of replacement. All right. Intimidation threat. Which threat, beta? Intimidation threat. All right. That means when there is a threat of replacement or pressurizing the auditor, intimidation threat. All right. Then let us say I am conducting audit of your financial statements since last 24 years. My God. Next year, we are going to celebrate Silver Jubilee. Yes. Your company just feels like second home. And if I start creating second home with the client, then we are going to come too close. I will be too sympathetic towards you. Or let us say one of my distant relative is, at some senior position over here. I'm going to be very sympathetic, too close. Correct. And that will develop which threat? Familiarity threat. Yes. Familiarity threat. So when you develop close relationship with the client, when you're too sympathetic towards the client's interest. These are the problems. Don't worry. In real life, there are practical life, there are solutions also. But first we talk about the villain and then the hero is going to enter. All right. So self-interest threat, self-review threat, advocacy threat, intimidation threat, familiarity threat. All right. The code word is safe. S2. Safe. Never forget these threats. Listen. These threats to independence is one of their favorite for MC, MCQ, and correct incorrect. One of their favorite for MCQ and correct or incorrect. Why, you know? Because they have given different examples. All right. And in these examples, what kind of MCQ they will ask? They will give you one example and they will say, which type of threat is this? All right. And you need to be very, very careful. For example, everyone needs to stay focused. This is very important. For example, if they tell you, close relationship with the client, familiarity threat. Close business relationship with the client, self-interest threat. All right. So you have to be very, very careful over here. And that is why we will read every single example that is there in the module. Now listen to me. Whenever there are examples, this is a very important tip for the full subject. Whenever there are examples, we should read and understand all the examples. We should by heart only few of them, but we should read and understand all the examples. Why we should read and understand all the examples? Because it can be asked in MCQ or correct or incorrect. Now in MCQ or correct or incorrect, they will set up any example. See, these are small things of clearing the paper with exemption. All right. So in examples, whenever you see examples, what will be your mantra? What will be your formula? Read and understand all the examples, by heart only few. Read and understand all the examples, by heart only few. Because in brief answers, you can write whatever examples you want to write. But in MCQ correct, incorrect, they can put up any example. So we should read and understand all, by heart only few. All right. Everyone over here, please come to point number 9, concept of independence. In that, 1, 2, 3, 4, everything I've made you write in the notes. The meaning of independence. All right. And 9.5, threats to independence. For this, we will say read with notes and focus more on examples. In the notes, I have just given meaning. Examples are there in the textbook. All right. So look at this. Self-interest threat. Self-interest threat, meaning which occur when an auditing firm, its partner or associate could benefit from a financial interest in an audit client. Okay. So when you can benefit from a financial interest in audit client, that is financial interest, self-interest threat. Now in every example, you should feel that yes, some kind of financial interest is being developed. Some kind of business relationship is being developed. All right. Example. So if I directly invest in the client's business, it is such a simple example. Creates financial interest. So you will mark in the MCQ self-interest threat. So if there is any direct financial interest, all right, or materially significant indirect financial interest. So either I am directly holding the stake or I am holding it to some other person. Okay. Loan or guarantee to or from the concerned client. If I give you the loan or I take the loan from you, we develop financial interest. All right. Let us say I am too much dependent on your fees. That means I am earning 10 lakh rupees per month. From that, 8.5 lakh I am earning from you. Undue dependence on client's fees. And that is why I'm a little worried that I may lose you and stuff. All right. Close business relationship with the client. Now, sometimes, see, the examples which are simple, I'm not discussing them. But look at this 5th point. Sometimes what happens, there's a small level practicing chartered accountant, proprietor level person. When he's conducting audit of X Limited, which is a big company, right? Then what that practicing chartered accountant will think, I think I should stop my practice. Look at this. So much, such a nice facility they give to their employees. Look at the work culture. They get Saturday, Sunday holiday also. I want to be the employee of this company. X Limited. X Limited. I will, sign in the audit report. I will give you true and fair view. But in future, you will give me job no over here. Self-interest. Potential employment with the client. Yes. Contingent fees for audit engagement. Sometimes we are like, okay, first you look at my work and then you give me the audit fees. If you keep conditional fees, then you are going to act in a very nice manner. You're not going to expose anything. Why? Because you want to earn the fees. So never keep conditional fees. If you try to keep conditional contingent fees, then in that case, that develops your self-interest. Now listen to me. There is one example where students can go wrong and they may mark the incorrect option. And today I'm discussing examples so that we are clear about it. It is this one. Now listen to me very carefully. I am the auditor, you are my client. Okay. I am too much dependent on your fees. That is why I am worried. I'm worried I should not lose this client. Then in that case, tell me, is the client influencing me or I am influencing myself? Option A, is the client influencing me? Or option B, I am influencing myself. I am influencing myself. Client is not influencing me. Yes, option B, I am influencing myself. Client is not influencing me. All right. It is my greed that I'm worried that what if I lose this client? All right. Client did not pressurize me. Client did not threaten me. However, if I change few words over here in this point, and if I say that client has pressurized the auditor, that he will be replaced if he does not listen to the client, then in that case, it is intimidation threat. I will show it to you. Look at this. Intimidation threat. People take example lightly, but that creates a lot of problem in exams. Intimidation threat. So look at this. Pressure to disproportionately reduce the work in response to reduced audit fees, threat of replacement. So if the client is giving me a threat of replacement, if the client is creating pressure on me to reduce the fees and stuff, that is intimidation threat. But client is creating no pressure. Client is not creating any pressure on me. It is my greed that is influencing me, that I don't want to lose this person, because I am too much dependent on the client's fees. Then that is self-interest threat. I hope you have understood the difference. I hope you have understood the difference. Yes? Yes. Okay. So this is one example where students go wrong. All right. This is only one example where students go wrong. Otherwise, all other examples are so simple. Financial interest, loan, guarantee, business relationship, future employment, contingent fees. Very clear that, okay, this is creating self-interest. But third example, students may mark for intimidation threat and they need to be careful. All right. Contingent fees, I said it multiple times, conditional fees. That means I am keeping the fees conditional. That if you like my work, then you pay me the fees. But you can pay it to me only if I give a good audit report to you. Correct? Then to earn that fees, I may do anything. Correct? So I should not agree for that. Contingent is conditional. Okay. Now next. Over here, self-review threat. What is self-review threat? I should not get in a position whereby I am preparing the data of my client, because if I prepare the data of my client and then if I examine that data, then I may end up examining myself and I will never expose my own errors. I will never expose my own errors. All right. So self-review threat occur when, please understand the English properly. There are two things that they have given over here. During a review of any judgment or conclusion reached in a previous audit or non-audit engagement. So please stay focused. Non-audit engagement. Non-audit example. Preparing clients' data. Example, non-audit engagement. Or it is also possible that last year when I audited, all right, I found some, I mean, I did not find any error. Sorry. Last year when I audited, I did not find any error. I wrote financial statements are showing a true and fair view. And this year when I started audit, I found that in the last year, I missed so many points. My God. Do you think I will expose myself in this year? During the current audit, that it many times so happens in practical life that we may find our own errors of the past and we will never expose it. All right. Self-review threat. I don't want to expose myself. So tell me, everyone, have you understood this line? Yes? Yes. Okay. Now next. Or a member of audit team was previously a director or senior employee of the client. Very simple. Let us say that you are my current partner. You are my partner. Huh? You are my partner. Last year, you were the director of X Limited. This year, you are my partner. Now, when I was conducting audit of X Limited, now when I start conducting audit of X Limited, I found a fraud of rupees 2 crores, which is related to the last year. And you know who is involved in that fraud? Correct. You are involved in that fraud. But currently you are my partner. And I will go to any extent to defend my partner. Currently you are my partner. If I disclose this fraud, which belongs to the last year, where you were involved when you were the director of that company, then I will end up exposing myself. And that is why I will not expose it. So this creates self-review threat. Look at this. So if I want to write it in simple words, it means ex-director or ex-KMP, key managerial personnel of the company is currently in the audit team. So ex-director or ex-KMP of the company is currently in the audit team. Then I will not expose the errors that that person would have committed when he was the director or KMP. All right. Look at this example also, they are giving the same thing. When auditor having recently been a director or senior officer of the company, and when auditor performs services that are themselves subject matters of audit. So very simple. 2 examples you will never forget. Everyone give me a promise. 2 examples. First, if you are involved in the preparation of clients' data, then that creates self-review threat. Second, if the ex-director or ex-KMP of the company is currently in your audit team, all right. If the ex-director or ex-KMP of the company is currently in your audit team, then that also creates self-review threat. One more time. If you are involved in the preparation of clients' data, creates self-review threat. Or if the ex-director or ex-KMP of the company is currently in the audit team, even that creates self-review threat. I want a confirmation. Are you understanding these 2 examples? Very, very important. Because students are marking wrong options over here. Yes. Okay. So we are done with self-review threat. Okay. Now look at this. Advocacy threat. What is advocacy threat? When you are promoting, or it seems like, it looks like you are promoting, where promotes or is perceived to promote a client's opinion, where you are promoting or defending the client. Very simple, where you are promoting or defending the client. Now look at the second example. Second example is very simple. Everyone will connect with the second example. Whenever you become client's advocate in litigation and third-party disputes. So whenever there is a legal thing going on and you become client's advocate over there, correct? Then in that case, obviously, correct, it is very clear that it is creating advocacy threat. So on one hand, you are auditing the client. On the other hand, you are advocating for the same client. It creates advocacy threat. Correct. But you know what? First example is little controversial. First example is little controversial. All right, look at this. When an auditor deals with shares or securities of the audited company. Actually, there is a typing mistake, not in my book, in the module itself. The real example is when auditor promotes the shares or securities of the audited company. Because if I deal with the shares or securities of the audited company, then that becomes self-interest threat. All right. Because look at this: direct financial interest or materially significant indirect financial interest. But the tragedy is, and I'm very sorry to say that if this particular point is asked, you will have to mark for advocacy threat. That is the tragedy. All right. They should ask it as when auditor promotes shares or securities. Promotes shares or securities, it is clear advocacy threat. When I am promoting, I'm not dealing in the shares or securities, but I'm promoting the shares or securities. That is pure advocacy threat. But now, because there is a typing mistake, and it is there in the module itself, and nowadays how they are setting the paper, module, that is how they are setting the paper. I don't want to talk more about it. Correct? Otherwise, I will land up myself in a controversy. So what you will do, listen. You will just put an asterisk mark, triple asterisk mark over here and write down one note. It actually creates self-interest threat. So dealing with shares and securities of the audited company, it actually creates self-interest threat on it. However, in exams, if this point is asked, then first choice, your first choice should be, see, if they give you such kind of option, A, self-interest, B, advocacy, C, either A or B, then that is the best option. All right. First choice is either self-interest or advocacy. Correct? That will be your first choice. Second choice will be, if they have not given this option, if they ask you to choose only one threat, then compulsorily you will have to go for advocacy threat. No option. Because I know that they will just see their module and give the answers. Then you will have to go for advocacy threat. I'm talking about which point? This one. When auditor deals with shares or securities of the audited company. Right? It actually creates self-interest threat. However, in exams, if this point is asked, then first choice, either self-interest or advocacy, and second choice will be advocacy threat. Okay. Because of their typing mistake, I have to give such a big note. If they put auditor promotes, promote or defend, these words will straight away go to advocacy threat. Okay. Okay. Yes. Now everyone over here. Okay, done with this? Fine. Now everyone over here. Familiarity threat. This is very simple. Familiarity threat, when you form relationship with the client. Listen. But if they put business relationship, then self-interest threat. Just relationship, then familiarity threat. Okay. Where they end up being too sympathetic to the client's interest. So if my close relative is in a senior position in the client company, familiarity. Now be careful. Let us say that, yes, Naveen. Let Naveen, the person who is attending lecture today. Let us say Naveen is my ex-partner. He is not my current partner. He is my ex-partner. Okay. And currently he is the director of the company of X Limited. All right. I got appointed as an auditor of X Limited. I was just entering X Limited. I said, Naveen, hi, how are you? Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye. Brotherhood. Huh? You were my partner once upon a time in a partnership firm, and currently you are director of this company. Naveen. Can I say that this becomes very familiar? Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. Creates a familiar relationship. Right? So look at this. Former partner of the audit firm being a director or senior employee of the client. Be very careful over here. So if my ex-partner is currently the director, then it becomes familiarity threat. But what if it is reverse? If Naveen was the ex-director and currently is my partner, then it becomes which threat? That is why I shouted at you, no, stay focused. Self-review threat, correct. Now, this is one example where most of the students go wrong. So that is why I'm drawing a diagram over here. All right. Never forget this. This is one example where they will confuse you. All right. So, ex-partner. You have to feel this. Ex-partner is currently the director or KMP of the company. My ex-partner is currently the director or KMP of the company. When I went inside that company, I said, Naveen, you, bye-bye, bye-bye. All right. So this creates familiarity threat. But if I reverse the position, my current partner was the ex-director or ex-KMP of the company. So Naveen is currently my partner. All right. Pragnesh, I'm explaining the logic. Look at this. Naveen is currently my partner, but he was the ex-director of the company. Now, when I got appointed as an auditor of the company, I found fraud of rupees 1 crore, which was earlier done by Naveen. But now currently Naveen is my partner. So I'm going to say Naveen, naughty Naveen. Hashtag naughty Naveen. Hashtag fraud. When you were the director of the company, you did a fraud of 1 crore. But currently you are my partner. I need to defend you. I will not expose this mistake. Because if I expose Naveen, I will end up exposing myself. All right. So if my current partner is ex-director or ex-KMP of the company, then in that case, I will not expose his mistakes of the past. Creates self-review threat. The most complicated examples, very, very important. This example institute has used 100 times to confuse the students. I want a confirmation from the students who are hearing me. Are you clear with this? Yes. Okay. All right. So we are moving ahead now. Here. Yes. This one example is little difficult and we are done with that. Okay. Next example you will understand. Long association. If you have spent too many years with the client, creates familiar relationship. So long association between the auditor and their client. Then if you accept significant gifts or hospitality, client tells you, sir, for your daughter, gold chain, sir. 20 grams gold chain for your daughter, 20 grams for your sister, 20 grams for your wife. The accepting significant gifts or hospitality from the client, company, directors, employees creates familiar relationship. All right. So again, familiarity threat over there. But I have marked and I went slow in the examples where you can be confused. And now I hope you will understand that why this becomes the most important for MCQ or correct or incorrect. Okay. So now everyone, we will practice a little bit. Okay. So this is SI, self-interest, for your Zoom chat box. All right. This is SR, self-review. Then this is A, advocacy. F for familiarity, and I for intimidation. All right. So I am just going to say random examples and you will type the threat. I am defending my client in legal case. A, yes, advocacy threat. Client is pressurizing me to reduce fees. I, intimidation threat. I have spent 22 years with the client. Familiarity threat. I have a close relationship with the client. I have a close relationship with the client. Familiarity threat, right? Because it is close relationship. I have a close business relationship with the client. Close business relationship with the client, then self-interest. Close relationship with the client, familiarity. Close business relationship with the client, self-interest. All right. I am helping my client to prepare the accounts. I am helping my client to prepare the accounts, self-review. Because if I prepare their accounts, all right, then if I audit it, I will never expose my own mistake. Self-review threat. So the formula for you is read these examples 5 times. All right. Read these examples 5 times properly. Read examples 5 times. I'm not asking you to by heart. All right. You should do it properly. All right. Karta, karma, kriya, self-review. Okay. Everyone over here. Nice input. So over here for threats to independence, you will write read examples from the textbook. Point number 9.5 it is. 9.5, page number 9. Okay. I told you if you discuss the concept of independence, it is the most practical thing. Okay. Now one little note. We talked about threats to independence, correct? These are the threats to independence. But let me tell you that against threats, whenever you talk about bad things, there are always good things on Mother Earth. There are also safeguards, but this is a very short discussion. Safeguards against threats to independence. See, if we are aware about these threats, then even Companies Act will be aware about these threats. Even Chartered Accountants Act will be aware about these threats. So you know what? There are provisions in Companies Act and Chartered Accountants Act which will protect the auditor's independence against these threats. All right. And that is nothing but what? Safeguards. Okay. So I will divide safeguards into 2. One is regulatory safeguards. That means there are provisions. Come on, start writing so that you can leave on time. Provisions in Companies Act 2013 and Chartered Accountants Act 1949. Which protect auditors' independence. And that is why after these concepts are over, I'm going to discuss company audit chapter. Then you will feel that, yes, that these sections are protecting auditor against the threats to independence. CA Act is there at final C level. So provisions in Companies Act 2013 and CA Act 1949, which protect auditors' independence. That is called as regulatory safeguards. Okay. But then there are some guiding principles. Means ethical safeguards. This is not a law or a section or a provision. This is just one paragraph which they have given in Code of Ethics. All right. And these guiding principles, they have asked so many times in exams for 4 marks. From here, there is no correct or incorrect. It is just a proper brief answer. Guiding principles. Hey, come on. What will be the guiding principle? Whenever you are accepting any audit, you should evaluate the threat. If the threat is minimal, that means, let us say one of my articles' brother is a director. Hey, come on, man. This is not a big threat. Correct? Then if the threat is minimal or acceptable, then you can accept the audit. But if the threat is huge, like my partner is a director or something like that, then you should not accept the audit. You should first take corrective action and then you can accept the audit. Like, I will ask my partner, you please leave that company. Only then we can be appointed as an auditor. All right. So some kind of corrective action you have to take and then you can accept the audit. Correct. So basic discussion, man. Anyone, any Tom, Dick and Harry, after hearing this lecture can write it. Look at this. Guiding principles. Everyone over here. 9.6. Very simple. It will just take 1 minute. Following are the guiding principles. First, you have to explain the concept of independence. For the public to have confidence in quality of audit, it is essential that auditors should always be and appear to be independent. First point, confident, yes. Be and appear to be independent. The key fundamental principles are IPO. Integrity, professional skepticism, objectivity. This is also fine. This is also fine. All right. And then the next 3 points you will remember like a flow chart. Before taking any work, auditor must consciously consider whether it involves threats. Consider the threats. Before taking any work, consider threats. If the threats exist, then desist. Desist means avoid. Don't accept the work. Or at least take corrective action to eliminate them. If you are not able to implement corrective action, let us say my relative is holding shares in the company. I asked my relative, please sell the shares. My relative says no. Then I think I should not accept the audit. Then he must not accept the work. So these 3 points you will remember like a flow only. All right. That before taking any work, evaluate threats. If threats exist, eliminate them. If you're not able to eliminate them, then don't accept the work. Simple, 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 dimple, simple, dimple. All right. So guiding principles, you will straight away study from the textbook. Point number 9.6, page number 10. Point number 9.6, page number 10. Okay. Yes. So listen, when it comes to the concept of independence, come on. First few lines is all about meaning of independence. Yes. After that, threats to independence. Yes. And after that, safeguards to independence. Safeguards against threats to independence. And that MC, BC, everything is there. M for MCQ, C for correct, incorrect, B for brief answers. Everything is there in this concept. Very, very important concept. Only a registered fool will ignore this. Other all proper rational people will always revise this concept multiple times. So that is too heavy now. We end this particular session and we will continue from the next lecture. I just request that you please keep on revising the notes. Okay. Thank you.